Feeling alone, overwhelmed? Low-key listening is here to help. Whether you want to vent, share your thoughts, or just have someone truly listen to you, we have real people standing by, ready to listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can download the app for free on Apple App Store or Google Play. Simply set up an account, find someone, and they will listen to what you have to say. You can actually even take voice memo notes and send them to the person. You can even text the person. Here's the best part. It is completely anonymous, not only for you, but the person listening. Because after all, don't we want somebody there willing to listen to us? Download the Low Key app today. Talk, be heard, and feel better. Low Key listening on your favorite app store.
Welcome to Elegance in Every Step. I'm your maitre d', Mary Postlethwaite. We hope you've come famished. We've prepared the finest table just for you. Our special today is Hungry, a dish we've been perfecting for 21 seasons now. Your table is alongside another guest. It might feel a bit unusual. However, we encourage you to dive in and hear their story. Today, we're serving up a conversation about craving the right things in life. Sit back, enjoy a complimentary appetizer. Your host, Neil Matthews, will be along shortly to guide you through today's meal. Bon appetit!
Ah, yes. Welcome in. Merry Christmas to you. It is, in fact, Other People's Shoes Christmas edition. It's so nice to get in and out of the weather, get in out of the cold. We haven't had snow yet here in Oregon. I hope that stays true. Christmas time, so it's always that time of year. He signed a verbal agreement with his mouth and never penned to paper, so maybe we should finally put pen to paper. 7 years now, almost. Garrett has come by every year for our Christmas show. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the old and much wiser now executive producer of Other People's Shoes. Help me welcome in Garrett Largy. Garrett, how are you?
Not too bad at all. How are you doing, friend? How many volumes of Christmas do we have?
Boy, you're putting me on the spot. I didn't put research on it. Well, let's see. January of 19 was when the show started. So that very first year, we had a Christmas episode that first year.
Okay.
We have not had 7 Christmas episodes yet.
This is our 6th.
This is 6th.
Plans for a 7th and more.
Plans for a 7th. Yes. I always kind of in my mind think to myself, okay, if I can get to Christmas, I can get to another year. The show's birthday is in January, so it's like one more month. Okay, one more month. I can make it one more month. Other People's Shoes will be celebrating 7 years, January 29th. And I will tell you, we actually already have the episode recorded for the birthday episode. I'm doing something different that I've never done before.
What are you doing? Should we say that for the end?
Fall in line with our season theme, which for next year is called Who's There? Somebody's at your front door. This last year, we had 2 different folks, husband and a wife, that were Jehovah's Witnesses. She's a 5th generation Jehovah's Witness. She got me thinking about the idea of them knocking on people's doors. And I thought, what a horrible thing, especially in this day and age. Someone knocking at your door. We don't like that, I think, nowadays anymore. Really got me thinking of the idea of someone being at your front door. And so I thought, man, what a great idea. Like who or what or something is at your front door. So we're calling it Who's There? In that theme of Who's There, I decided to bring back a past guest.
Ooh.
We're actually calling the episode Reflection. There's a reason why I picked this specific guest, the past, to come forward. It's a really hard episode to listen to. What this guest walked through and experienced definitely had something at their front door. I'm purposely choosing the pronouns, I guess you could say, on purpose because I don't want to give away who it is just yet.
Right.
So we'll have 2 episodes that week. We'll have our normal Wednesday episode, and then we'll have the birthday episode that next day, actually.
Awesome. But it's funny because you say who's at the front door. Appropriate that it feels kind of Christmassy because it seems like the Christmas Carol, the ghost knocking on Scrooge's front door. Very foreboding. I like it.
Yeah. Who's There will go from January till April. And then the second season of that year, season that I'm really excited about. I don't want to talk about it just yet.
No. We can't talk about it now.
Nobody talks about
no details.
It just yet. Who's There coming in?
Your wife says that all the time.
Well, it's probably where I stole it from. There's a lot still coming, I guess is what I'm saying. I was actually just telling you before we started recording that all of the shows for next season are done. They're recorded.
That is awesome.
Except for one, I should say. There is one spot left. One spot left. Currently trying to find somebody to fill that spot. So we're actively seeking.
We were talking about the past and how much we miss recording foreboding at the top of
Yes.
an old business that we both
Yes.
used to work at, and how it was in the downtown area. It was nice and breezy, but it wasn't super
We
loud.
don't work there anymore.
That's true. Yeah,
See
I don't
it
like
from-
to throw around names like that anymore. I used to.
See it from the freeway. Garrett, I was actually just recording with somebody fairly recent, and we got done recording, and she said, great interview, great time together, and a lot of synergy. Been interviewed by a number of people, 700 Club, and I mean, just some big name media people. And she asked me, she said, hey, is there any way I could get your questions so I could submit them to my people, so then I get these type of questions again because they were really good. And I said, well, here's the thing. I don't write my questions. Made me think about back in the day. Remember, I would write 6, 7, 8 questions every time we'd sit with somebody.
Well, when you and I were recording together,
yeah.
you would be the driving force of the episode, and I'd be listening in for key points, and I'd write down a quick note to flash over to you so you can bring it up and maybe dig a little deeper with them or disregard depending on where you wanted the flow to go.
And see, Garrett, that's the hard part is nowadays I don't have that. I have to rely on myself so much.
To be fair, you could have Chat GBT up, and it could be doing that for you now.
That's probably true.
We live in the age where AI is now a wonderful tool to use, and it should be used as just a tool like any other.
I've never used the chat for a recording yet. I haven't done that yet. Well, again, Christmas time is here. Garrett, again, making his appearance in the True Shack studio. We are recording in right now. Just really excited about that. So I thought I would challenge Garrett this year, and she even challenged myself as a creator. Everyone is asking on some level or some way, hey, what can I get you for Christmas? And I got to be honest, as a child, I really hungered for gifts. I really thought that's what made me as a kid. If I got this certain, again, fill-in gap of whatever item it may be, I would be whole as a person somehow. 1989, take you back, Batman, the original Tim Burton Batman, had come out, and my brother and I had both wanted the Batman toys. We had gone to the movie, which I was not old enough to see a PG-13 movie. We'll let that slide.
I think a lot of our parents at that time let us watch a lot of things that we probably shouldn't have.
Probably shouldn't have, yeah. But in that is I remember wanting the Joker toy. I didn't end up getting the Joker. I got another character from the movie Batman that was another villain, and I was like, what is this? Like,
I have to ask because I've been looking on eBay for nostalgia toys and whatnot.
Sure.
Not that I ever buy them. I'm
Right.
like, oh, I never had that. Or, oh, I had that.
Yeah.
Was it the character with the hat and
I think it was like Bob or somebody
Bob?
like that. Yeah,
it was Bob.
It was like not even the Joker.
It's his right-hand man, Bob.
I know. He doesn't take on Batman. The Joker did.
No, he gets punched in the face and taken down in one hit.
Is I somehow thought this toy would make me validate me as a person. I don't know. I guess it got me thinking even to this idea in the season that we're in called hungry. What am I hungering for? And to flip that kind of on its head, because I like to do that from time to time, I challenged Garrett to come up with 3 things that our world really needs right now. Maybe it's a material thing. Maybe it's something, again, that we're hungering for as a people that we're still missing out on, that we need to kind of get around and to be around. So Garrett has his list. He's always so prepared with his list, by the way. My list is always where it should be. In my head, purposely, kind of wanted to wait and see what you gave first.
Oh, no. So I'm first, eh? Off of that prompt, I was unsure on what to do. I typed this whole thing out a month and a half or 2 months ago. This morning, I was rereading over this list and I went, oh, no, I think of other things now. So there are things I have on here that I'm not going to use. There are things on here I am going to use. First gift, world needs. All mine are going to be kind of pieces of advice, not necessarily things. And the first one I'm going to say is acceptance. The world needs more acceptance. This comes from the fact that this year I was an elder of a church, in a church that had closed as of July this year, the end of July. There was a lot of coming to terms and coming to accept what was going on with that church for it to close. Being able to see realities and seeing where God is taking you, or what don't believe in God, where life is taking you, and being able to accept the limitations, accept where these brick walls are, accept when a door opens, and not be so self-concerned, self-absorbed to not realize these things, to be able to move forward. And in the case of the church for us, Ashley, my wife, and I were the elders, the only elders left of the church. The pastor had just given us a signed resignation. He said he's run out of money. We were having fund issues at the church, and he was going to be leaving. A person who was giving us advice, I love him to death, his name is Bob Wood, talking with him, and he said, well, you guys could stay open. Garrett, you'd be preaching or you'd be finding someone to preach while you're looking for an interim pastor. I was looking at all the things that Upward had done. We'd had 30 baptisms in 7.5 years. We've touched so many people's lives. We've given so much away for charity. We've also had hard times. All churches do. Kind of a peek behind the curtain that some people don't like. And I was thinking, how many second chances had our church had? And is this just a sign from God that it is time for these doors to shut so that other doors could open? I accepted that fact. That seemed to be where God was going. So my big piece of advice is accept what the world is throwing at you. Accept what is coming your way and learn how to live with it and move forward. Accept the doors that open, accept the doors that close.
Oh, man, that was deep, buddy. Way to get us going. Wow. I see your acceptance.
What are you going to raise me by?
I was just going to say, I'm not a good poker player. So is it a raise? Is that what that is? Is that the term? Charlie Kirk, most of us know that name. It's now become a synonymous thing in our world. I remember seeing Facebook post the day he died, and I thought, there's no way that that's real. I know this sounds silly to some. I actually went to X, aka Twitter, to see if it was real.
Interesting news source for realism.
I know, but that's literally what I did, and I did the same thing when Kobe Bryant passed away. Is I read it on a different social media, and then I went to X to verify. I know that sounds weird, but
well, to be fair, I use CNN. Both about are as reliable.
So in that, I mistakenly watched the video of him actually being killed. That's something obviously I can't go back and change, and wish I could, because I don't want to see that for anyone, no matter how you feel about Charlie Kirk, whether you loved him or you hated him, it doesn't matter. To me, human life is human life. We'll set that aside for just a second. In light of that, I kept hearing people say after Charlie Kirk had died that somebody needs to step up and somebody needs to carry on that mantle, that torch of challenging people's ideas. Key word that I kept hearing from people who knew Charlie Kirk or who were involved in his ministry was Charlie Kirk had so much empathy. I had this vision, not like a Joseph Smith vision, not like that. I had this idea of going to campuses and maybe talking to a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, which I know you don't necessarily know that name, but that's okay.
I know the Shaq. How dare you?
Okay, fair enough. No, he wears a really big pair of shoes, like a really large size pair of shoes. This is what I envision. A really just little table, tent like Charlie had, and have this pair of shoes and a microphone in front of the shoes. And in order to talk into the microphone, because everybody wants to talk into a microphone. I mean, that's part of the reason why I still podcast. I love talking into a microphone. You had to put these shoes on. And to realize that those are some big shoes to fill in more ways than one. The shoes of trying to fill Charlie and what he was doing, the shoes of trying to put your feet in Shaquille O'Neal's shoes. Not a lot of people are going to fit into those. They're going to be way too big. That's what I want to give our world, is I want to give them a pair of shoes. And I know there's a Christmas song very popular nowadays. I want to buy her shoes, talking about giving the mom a pair of shoes. I want to give the world a pair of shoes that they can really put on and realize that this world is a really, really big place, and that sometimes stuff doesn't fit us just right. To have the mindset shift to say, wow, that doesn't fit me. I'm still going to try them on. I'm still going to try to understand what it must have been like. I know a lot of people aren't sports fans, but to be Shaq, he was very dominant in his playing career, very dominant center. To have that switch, to remind somebody every day, to put on somebody else's shoes, to realize and recognize that really this world needs to have that switch. When somebody's being mean to me, to recognize and realize, oh, wow, I need to step back and put myself in their spot. What is it like to be them? And I know I've talked about that for a long time. We asked the question right at the beginning.
That is kind of what this whole podcast was predicated on.
Not that I've forgotten that message. When I'm pushed up against something in my own life, when something doesn't go my way, am I reminded of the fact that I got to put those shoes on? That I'm willingly saying, am I really trying to be that other person, to put myself in that other person's spot? Elizabeth and I went to Mexico with Adia this last summer. We went down to Mexico, and I don't speak Spanish. I just don't. I speak very, 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 very little Spanish. And we went to a part in Mexico called Zehuataneo Estapa, and nobody there spoke English. And if they did, it was very broken and very hard to understand. And I felt so out of place. And I was using Google Translate to try to talk to the people there when we needed something, or trying to get downtown, or trying to get someplace. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is dumb. I get mad at people when they do that back home. You're in America, you should learn English. And I get all mad. And then I'm in another country and I'm doing the same exact thing, and I'm struggling. And I just want somebody to speak my language. I just want somebody to understand what it feels like to be me right now and not being able to communicate. Came back from that Mexico trip with a different mindset that shift of, I know what it's like to be in that person's shoes, of trying to understand me and trying to translate and trying to talk through a phone. And it's the idea of just giving somebody a pair of shoes, that empathetic heart to say, wait, before I judge, before I react, let me try their shoes on.
That's really good. I like that, and I'm going to segue straight into it because essentially one of the ones I was toying with, opinions changed, and I was thinking about skipping this one over. This one also deals with Charlie Kirk's death. This one also deals with empathy. My thing was I wanted the world to have more compassion for other people. My viewpoint and take on that with the whole Charlie Kirk aspect was more of the Charlie Kirk stuff than I did. I came in about an hour after it happened. Probably were in there 10, 20 minutes after it. I'm assuming.
I just remember it was just so horrific, and just really watched somebody die online.
Your wife shared that with me, and I had been watching CNN for the last 20 minutes. Oh, what's happening? There's no way that this is real. In a lot of ways, this has kind of been my Kennedy moment in my lifetime. I thought 9/11 was going to be my Kennedy moment. Apparently, this is more, because it definitely was a lot more moving in my life. I was taken aback. I was upset. Not so much at the cause that I believe in. My big thing was I was upset for the family. There are two kids, one of which is never going to know their father. The other one's going to forget their father because they're so young. And the wife, who's now widowed and has to raise these children without that. I thought two things are going to happen. One, the people who oppose Charlie Kirk are going to celebrate and do so very loudly and what I would say disrespectfully. And then there's going to be the people who were with Charlie Kirk's cause who are going to say, this is the ammunition we need to overthrow, riot, destroy, go against in the name of self-preservation against the people who were the opponent. And I was sitting there going, this situation is already sad enough. Only going to be more sad with these perspectives of people who are not looking at this situation with compassion for the kids and the widow, the people who witnessed the event, who are traumatized now, the administration that has to deal with it, the police department, the person who did the crime themselves, who's going to be in jail for however long. Their life is completely ruined now because of a choice that they made. I think we should have compassion on all of it. Our reaction, whether it be celebratory or solace or avenging, should be a distant second emotion to what was going on at that moment. And I think that the world misses out on that because while listening to CNN, seeing other reports coming in from other news agencies, I know that they have a job to do, and their job is usually stir up public and get views, and they're missing the point of the compassion. More people just need to sit in that area. And it goes right along with what you just said with empathy. You can't have compassion unless you're empathetic. That's where I'm standing with that one.
I just want to be clear on this. We did not talk ahead of time of what we were going to share.
I was going to accuse you of stealing my idea.
We did not talk. We didn't trade emails ahead of time. I mean, we usually do.
This year's been silent.
I never know what you're going to share, and otherwise you don't know what I'm going to share. I've been wearing this hoodie every time I come into the studio to record. A very good friend of mine named Tammy made this hoodie for me, and it says Worthy on it. T on Worthy is a cross in the shape of a cross. And when she first gave it to me, I was really excited because it was light blue. I love light blue. I'm standing against the wall. You can't really see me. I blend right into the wall. You're in the studio. It took me a long time to really embrace wearing it because I don't feel worthy always. There's something about wearing a hoodie for me that I feel comfortable. I feel just enclosed. I know you're a big Harry Potter, Magic the Gathering. Maybe you don't play that stuff anymore. Probably this cloak of invisibility that sometimes people joke and talk about. I'm not saying my hoodie is a cloak of invisibility. When I have a hoodie on, I feel comfortable. I feel safe. I feel protected. I love the fact that this hoodie has a hood. I mean, this whole point of a hoodie, it has a hood. It can cover up my ears. And I love most hoodies have, I call it a kangaroo pouch or a little pouch in front because I can put my keys in there, my wallet, all my stuff. I just feel warm and protected. I think that is a gift I would give the world as well, is all those things that I just mentioned. Is the hoodie gives a sense of comfort. It gives a sense of worthiness. It gives a sense of belonging, a sense of comfort. I think there's no greater gift in this world. Now, listen, I know there's going to be those that hear this and say, well, hey, Neil, you clearly haven't read that part in the Bible where it says, in the world, but not of the world. If the world hates you, keep in mind it hated me first. Jesus talking there, red letter. Calm down, Bible scholar person. I have read that part. But I think God also wants us to have the desires of our heart. That while we are here, he does want us to feel comfort. He does want us to feel, hey, we're safe with him. Yeah, again, nothing can hurt us. Nothing can stop us from loving God. I get that too. There's a sense of being comfortable and being protected and being worthy enough to feel you are safe and you are protected. When my family first moved to Oregon, my dad was working like 3 or 4 jobs. It seemed like my mom was trying to find a job. It was rough. And I remember that Christmas specifically, I was going to Jefferson Elementary School. They had partnered with Bear Creek Corporation. And Bear Creek Corporation through Jefferson Elementary School had sent out this paper. By the way, Jefferson's a pretty low income elementary school, a lot of poverty in that school, even to this day, from what I hear. It was a rough Christmas. My parents put it out there to the four of us, Brandy, Angel, Corey, and myself, like, hey, there's not going to be a lot here at Christmas time. We just moved to Oregon, we're trying to find a house, whatever. My parents had always made Christmas a big deal. As I already talked about, in 1989, not only did I get the Batman stuff, but we also got Nintendo that year, by the way. So that was 5 years behind everyone else, but it's fine. Bringing this paper home to my mom and her filling it out and putting down needs that we had on this piece of paper. That was the idea. And they were going to, through Bear Creek Corporation, they were going to buy presents for the kids, so kids didn't go without. And I remember getting a pair of high-tech hiking boots. That's kind of weird. I remember getting a wristwatch. I remember getting some just odds and ends stuff from this partnership through Bear Creek and Jefferson. And what's interesting is I never forgot that Christmas, unlike any other Christmases we'd had in the past. And the next year, by the way, wasn't like that in any way. My parents were a little more established, and Christmas, we'll say, went back to quote-unquote normal. Back to Lithia, again, going full circle. Elizabeth and I were in the building one day having lunch together. We were leaving the floor that she was on. I was getting ready to get on the elevator to go back down to the lonely second floor like you and I used to be on.
Our listeners might not understand is the higher the floor up you were, the more important you were, or at least perceivably so.
That's terribly true.
Us people in collections, because that's where we worked.
It's terribly true.
We're second floor, which is the first floor for the working class.
Garrett does not tell lies there. I was on my way down, back down to our floor, back down to the lonely levels of level 2. And I heard this gal talking about how they were getting Bear Creek Corporation to team up with elementary schools again. I stopped because it caught my attention. And I said, oh man, that's really awesome. I said, hey, if you don't mind, I said, I know I'm probably interrupting your lunch. I don't mean to be. I said, you were part of that? And she said, yeah, I was part of the planning ideas and all that. And yeah, I helped implement that at Bear Creek, and we're trying to do it again. And Lithia is now trying to get involved. And I said, oh, that's cool. By the way, I said, I went to Jefferson in 1992 to 93. I just went 1 year. I said, my family took part in that. And she about fell out of her chair. She said, that was the first year we ever did it. She said, I've never met a kid that was part of that. Made it possible for us to have a Christmas. You made it comfortable for us to have a Christmas. And I guess that's what I'm saying. Listen, I know, again, we're supposed to be uncomfortable. There's an element of that too. Sure. When I'm wearing my hoodie, I can do uncomfortable things because I feel comfort. See, that's what the hoodie brings, is a level of comfort. It's a little bit of safety, a little bit of worthiness, all because of a word on a hoodie from Tammy.
I'm hearing that. One of the words that comes to mind, maybe it's because of the sermon that we listened to today. Peace seems to come to mind a lot when you're sharing that. Like the hoodie gives you a sense of peace. The last gift that I'm going to share, I have a couple other written down. I feel like this one's probably the best. When I was learning how to be a better father, my child's almost 5. He'll be 5 next month. It's the best part of your day, Dad, coming home and seeing you. And it's never a lie. Whether he's well-behaved or ill, it does not matter. My child is one of the high points of my day, if not my life. I was trying to learn to be a better father, and I was having doubts of how strict I was being with him. At the time, he was only 3.5. I believe very sternly that rules are there, and you have to be hard at first so the child can get the rule. And then you can start letting up and being softer when they can explain why they're breaking the rule. I was talking with our pastor about it. Again, his name is Al. He said this one piece of advice that I would like to share with the world. I now live by this piece of advice. I did my latter half of my eldership with this piece of advice in my mind. He said, and I'm going to quote it, err on the side of love. If you're thinking you're being too harsh, err on the side of love. Because you can always go back and correct the other way, but you can't give more love once you've put that defense up. The reason I want to give this to the world is because I feel like so many people have knee-jerk reactions. So many people who don't have knee-jerk reactions sit there and go, you know what, I feel slighted, I'm going to slight them back. So many people have that, and I'm not excluding myself from this. So many people have the, I want mine, I'm going to take away from yours. The more and more I think about it, I think erring on the side of love is going to open so many more doors, and it's going to give the people who you're interacting with, the people who you're quote unquote dealing with, those opportunities or obstacles that might come up. If you err on the side of love, you're giving them an opportunity as much as you're giving yourself that opportunity. Every day, anytime Will does something that letting go of a balloon in the house so that it can hit the tree and knock part of an ornament off and it cracks on the floor, it's okay. Err on the side of love. Oh, look, now he's running and chasing the cat and the cat's not happy about it. Err on the side of love. He just directly disobeyed me to my face. Now I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence now. No, err on the side of love. And I think through that, he truly understands that he is loved in our household, loved and appreciated as a child of the house, as much as he can understand that at almost 5 years old, and that he feels safe. And that's the kind of environment that I want to bring him up. That's the kind of environment I want other people to be with around me. And I think if more of us had that, we would have a lot more, prior point, compassion for one another. That's the one that I want to give for my third gift.
Wow, I love that. I love the idea of almost leading with love. That's what I hear you saying. That is the idea, again, of if I'm leading with love, I can have compassion. If I'm leading with love, I can have empathy. If I'm leading with love, I can make somebody feel comfortable and safe. I think that's great, Garrett. Solid. I am struggling because I really want to give 2 more.
You can give 2 more by all means.
I really had a tie for this third one. And then the more I thought about it, I really was like, I really don't like things in 3. Why am I limiting myself to 3? So I'm like, okay, stretch yourself. Go to 4.
I'll come up with another one if you want.
Fair enough. So here's my first one. Really, the 2 sort of go together. So this last year, I reluctantly went on a friend's podcast.
Friends like the show or friends friend?
Like a friend I've met through the journey. Her name's Jennifer Sakata. She has a show called Living the Grace Life. She's been on my show. She sent me some people. I've sent her some people. It's just been great. Let's be honest. 7 years now of almost doing this. There's not a lot of people that I've started with that are still podcasting. I mean, that's just reality. Jennifer has a great show. She said, hey, Neil, I want you to come on and talk about how grace is in your life. And I said, cool. And then she said, one of the questions I really want dialogue about that could be a struggle for you, who's the hardest person to give grace to? I was like, well, Jennifer, that topic sucks. Let's get somebody else.
Was this a long list or a short list?
Is I feel like the greatest gift I think anyone could give truly is grace. It's really hard to give grace. I feel like it's easy to give empathy. You know, it is. Like I can be like, okay, I can relate with that person. Man, that sucks. Oof. Yeah, that stuff. Can be there for somebody. Hey, how you doing? I can send a text. I can a phone call. I can send an email, whatever that says, hey, I'm here for you. Let me be your hoodie. Let me be your comfort. Let me do those things that I know that I want when I'm struggling with being loved. I can give those things. When it comes to this idea of grace, that is a whole different animal. There are people I don't want to give grace to. They don't deserve it, worthy enough for it. Specifically this last year, especially show related wise. Because it feels like sometimes there's 2 worlds. There's the show world where I'm learning stuff and I'm growing. And then it's that hard transition from show life, we'll call it, to real life. I'm really good at giving grace on the show. I'm really good at modeling what I think graces look like and should look like. But man, it is sometimes hard when I hit stop and the recording stops to give grace to people that are hard to give grace to. Jennifer, in her own unique way, very special, unique way, really challenged me this year on that. Prior to me going on Jennifer's show, I actually sat with a gal who I thought I would never in a million years have a chance to sit with. One Saturday in particular, I don't even remember what it was. I was just flipping through HBO Max and I saw this documentary on the Oklahoma City bombing. And I thought, man, this is cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I love Oklahoma City bombing stuff because they're tied to Waco. I mean, they're just, those 2 events are always going to be tied together. And so I'm watching this documentary and this gal, Kathy Sanders, keeps coming up on this documentary. Like she's a key figure of people that are profiling. I just thought, man, she wrote a book. Oh man, I remember this lady. Okay. Yeah. I remember. Oh, yep. That's right. She has 2 grandkids that died. And I just thought, man, she's super interesting. And so I pull out my phone and I thought, well, I wonder if I could ever get her on the show. Probably not. But let's try. Sent some emails and nothing, crickets. I just thought, well, okay, it's not meant to be, and moved on. Found other guests and away I went and moved on. Lo and behold, one day, just out of the blue, I was sitting in here editing and my phone goes off and it's a message from her saying, I'd be honored to be on your show. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have a spot for you, Kathy. Like I don't. Like
Yet.
It's gone. I sat with her and I heard her talk about how she forgave that monster of a human being, Timothy McVeigh. I sat with her and I listened to her talk about how she gave grace and love and compassion and empathy to Terry Nichols' mom. She told this story of Terry Nichols' son coming to her home in Oklahoma City and her taking him down to the memorial and walking the memorial with Terry Nichols' son. That a woman like that, she's nothing necessarily super special. Like she doesn't have any superpower. She's not a saint or anything like that. I'm sure she has her struggles just like everyone else does. She in some way found a way to give grace to these people that really don't deserve it, aren't worthy enough for it. Adjective, insert, whatever. How can she do that? It wrecked my world, Garrett.
I My last one's going to be a little counter to that. My last one is hope the world can realize the discernment for when your loyalty becomes self-abuse. I have a friend who I don't think listens to this podcast. He's very in his own bubble. And I try to spend as much time with him as possible, or at least I used to. That involves us hanging out online, listening to each other on Discord, playing video games. And I would spend from 9 o'clock at night to midnight, almost every night, trying to spend time with him. He's isolated himself to the point where he's very, very lonely. One night, I was very, very sick, hacking and coughing, just trying to spend time. And we watched a movie, and I gave my opinions of the movie, and I was told that was stupid. And I'm like, well, they're opinions. I disagree with you respectfully. He said, I don't want to argue with you. Just while you're sick, just go to bed. So I left, and I didn't go online for, I think it was 3 weeks to talk to him at all. He never reached out. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I expected something like, hey, what's up? Or just checking in on you. And then eventually he did text me and saying, hey, just checking to make sure you're all right. Out of anger, I wasn't going to contact him. Thankfully, that gave me time to look at it and evaluate. This guy is loyal to the end. He'll always be there, but he'll always be himself there. Is the loyalty worth the abuse? Is my loyalty to him worth maintaining the friendship? A lot of our things back and forth, and a lot of mine were about compassion and whatnot. There's also the thing of a little bit of self-preservation, the wisdom to know when to give and when to slow that stream down and not give as much, to evaluate, is this worth giving? And I pray that the world gets a little bit of that. It doesn't harden hearts. Being loyal is a wonderful thing. Being overly loyal and letting people walk all over you is going to be as hurtful as it to you as it is going to be to the other people. And there's my little half-baked one I wrote this morning.
Garrett is so far removed from the show these days. He doesn't know all the cool things that we do every week.
I don't listen to the episodes every week. In fact, Elizabeth asked me, said, have you listened to any episodes this season? I go,
which is so uncommon for you.
Normally, I try to catch up on the year once we pass our deadline time at work. Since we weren't going over shows, I was like, I have a child that demands my attention all the time now. I have no time for any personal stuff.
That's awesome. You didn't know this. Again, we didn't talk about this ahead of time. True or false? If respect is no longer served, it's time to leave the table. Why?
Oh, that is such a hard... can I get more context? I think it depends on the context.
That's all you get.
All right. So I'm going to reiterate. True or false? If respect is no longer at the table, it is time to leave the table.
No longer served.
Oh, no longer served.
Specifically served.
Okay. Ooh, I like that dining analogy. That's neat.
Well, that's been our whole questionnaire this season is we ask dining type questions because it's hungry. I'll give you the
that's great.
I'll give you the questions, but yeah, that is one of the questions that people had to answer.
I have an answer. We could dig into that real quick. I think it's true. If respect is no longer being served,
what's this think? Either you know or you don't.
I believe it's true. I'll go with believe instead of think or know. I believe it's true. If respect is no longer being served, then it is time to leave the table. If you're respecting and not getting respect back, then what you're doing is foolish in the biblical sense of the term. It is a pointless waste of effort. You're not being loved for the love that you're giving out.
I didn't survey like how many people said true, how many people said false this season, so I didn't do that much research into this. But here's the rundown of the questions. What's your favorite part about a sit-down dining restaurant? That's fun. Finish this thought. I am hungry for. Has fasting ever been part of your story? Why or why not? The true or false question we just talked about. What is your favorite meal? And then what is something we shouldn't talk about? Because I always ask people that when they come on. What shouldn't we talk about? And then have you listened to any past shows? So obviously Garrett would fail this one.
For this season, to be fair.
And
I can quote you at anything from seasons 1 through 3. Sir.
And then why should we walk in other people's shoes? So that's our 10 questionnaire that we send to people before they become a guest.
For this season in particular.
This season, yeah, because food themed, obviously. I thought I had that question down, and I think I still do. I think my answer still stays true, that if respect is no longer served, true, it's time to leave the table. Respect has to be shared, simpatico in that. We have to come to the table realizing and recognizing that, listen, I might not agree with everything you're saying. I might not love everything you're saying. But again, is there grace? Is there grace there? Okay, we can have a meal together.
I feel like it's kind of in between. A lot of people say respect is earned, not given. Agree and disagree with that. I think there's a certain level of allowance that you give. And then once that allowance is used up, let's use a gas tank analogy. Let's say you have a gas tank in a car. You and the friend are using the car. The friend is the person who you're essentially sitting down for the respect with. If they don't put gas in the car, it doesn't go anywhere. So eventually, if they don't put gas in the car, you leave the car there. They can have the hunk of junk that's a giant paperweight. But there has to be, you putting some in to get it going in the first spot. That's why I was like, at first, I feel like it's yes or no. In the end, it's going to be yes. You need to have respect at the table to continue to be served.
It does have to be a shared thing. There has to be a mutual understanding of we're going to have grace. We're going to have an idea of saying, listen, again, I might not agree with you. I might not like what you're saying, but I am at least going to have enough respect to hear you out, to listen to you enough. And I think that would be my last gift this year, at least, is the idea of listening. I think we as a society, and I'm making it a broad and even a me thing, I don't think I listen as well as I should listen. I think I listen again halfway or maybe like 10%, maybe 20% sometimes. But other times, Elizabeth will say something to me. She'll be like, hey, remember such and such, and I'm like, nope. She's like, you weren't listening, were you? And I was like, no, I totally was listening. I just forgot that you said that. There's a difference. I still could be a better listener. And I think so many times I find myself distracted or thinking of things or present in the moment. When I'm recording, I have to be present in the moment. I have to be keyed in, locked in, know what I'm doing, know what the next phase or step's going to be. I think in life, again, that long transition from the record time stopping.
From the shoe shack to the house?
Yes, it's a very long walk from both, which really isn't that far of a walk. I could be a better listener. I think others could be as well. And so maybe that's my goal for next year, is to maybe become a better listener again. I think it is still a working area for me. That and grace. So those two maybe going hand in hand.
Let me ask you a question. Who do you think the best listener is, at least in your life?
My wife's pretty good. Probably the best listener I know. My mother-in-law is pretty good too. And I think maybe that's where she got it from, was her mom.
I think of my mom and I think of our friends Dana and Juan. We go over to their house every week for dinner. They're really close family friends. They have a kid who's right around Will's age too. When I moved up here, my wife was doing Dungeons and Dragons with them. Since I moved up here, we've always been friends with them. We've grown really close since they started coming to our church and whatnot. We've been in their lives very, very deep. Besides that, I say my mom. Then again, she's just listening to her kid complain. So maybe... Maybe I'm giving her too much credit. I'm going to give her too much credit. I think she's a fairly good listener as well.
That's our Christmas stuff. I mean, I have some show stuff I was going to share with you. So show-wise, we've surpassed 350 episodes. 350 is a pretty big milestone.
Where do most podcasts end?
So I'm hearing now it's dropped. It used to be 7. Now it's dropped down to about 5. 3 to 5
episodes.
Yeah, before people quit.
That's frightening. You're a pinnacle of success in comparison.
I heard it's 1% make it to 5 years now.
Okay.
Less than 1% make it to 5 years. Sometimes 2%, somewhere in there. Yeah, I don't know.
How many of your podcasting buddies, quote unquote, that you met over the years have ceased their podcast, percentage wise or number wise?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say 90, maybe even 95.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think of the group that I started with, I joined the little marketing networking thing called Rocket. I think of that group of people that were in that, and I think there was probably 50 of us, I want to say. Of the 50, I think there might be down to 5, maybe 6.
Would you still be doing the podcast today if it weren't for the Shoe Shack?
Would I still be doing it if it wasn't for the Shoe Shack? I think the Shoe Shack just helps.
I think the Shoe Shack helps immensely.
Fortress of Solitude, quote your Superman guy, right?
Yes.
I feel like that. Elizabeth said to me the other day, she's like, do you still like it? You're like never out there anymore. I said, I'm never out there because it's cold, for one.
It's seasonal.
I said, but for two, when I go out there, I know I'm going out there to work. And sometimes I don't want to go out and work.
Oh, no, the podcast has become work.
Well, I mean, it always has. I mean, I hate editing still to this day. Still have to get over that hump. It's the last thing I want to do. Sit here.
All the other parts you love about podcasting.
I think so. I think I love finding people. I still just get such a kick out of that. I have a Google Voice number now that I've been screening people. They basically book like a 15-minute call with me. It's just a phone call. I kind of hear their story, see if I'm curious. And if I'm not, I politely say, hey, thanks for calling. It's probably going to be a no. Classic is, let me talk to my team and I'll get back to you.
Send them a nice email.
I sent him a chat GTP email saying, it's been nice. It's been real.
And you're still doing consulting for anyone who
I've done some consulting on shows. I've listened to a couple of shows. I mean, obviously nothing's materialized from it money wise. Yeah, I've consulted on a couple of shows when people have asked for it. That part's fun. Now I'm trying to think, what's the next goal to get to? And then get there and then reevaluate. The next goal I really want to get to is I want 400.
I was going to say, people our age, it's usually the senior menu at Denny's.
But I think I want 400. I keep writing down ideas for seasons. And so as long as those ideas keep coming to me, whether it be a song or a moment or somebody will say something to me, I think I'll probably keep going. I know next year's ready. January through April's good, -1. I really feel like I'm finding a lot more diversity than I have in the past. Some people that wouldn't necessarily have maybe picked year 2, year 3. But now in year 7, I'm like, that is a different conversation. 2 that I'm really looking forward to. The first one is a gentleman that his mom was raped. And out of that rape, he was born.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. I mean, how do you turn that down? How do you turn that conversation down? Lady was divorced from her husband, brings its own challenges, and then breaks into her home and physically and sexually assaults her, goes to kill her current boyfriend and shoots him like, I think, 8 or 10 times.
Shocking.
I mean, it's conversations like that I'm like, okay, we'll keep going. We'll keep doing.
That's stuff you hear about on the news and never think you're going to bump into someone like that.
Got to sit with somebody that's Jewish. We haven't had that conversation yet. That lens and looking through life through that lens. There's just conversations that I'm still excited about finding. I think is really what pushes me forward.
Oh, I do have to shout out to the listeners. If there's someone out in Nebraska,
yes,
that has something interesting to share.
We need Nebraska. So
it's the only state we don't have a pin in yet.
Because I knew I was getting close. And maybe in my mind, that's when I really felt like, okay, if I hit all the states, does that mean I'm done? Because that was my very first goal that I set for the show. Very first goal was I wanted somebody from every state. And I thought, man, that'll be easy. And it's been extremely hard. A lot harder than I thought it would be. I had a moment where I was like, you know what? It's time to just rip the Band-Aid off and find these states and just get them done. So then I can at least feel like I hit one of the main goals that I started with. I found somebody in Delaware, ironically enough. Yep. So we'll have somebody from Delaware next year. And then I thought, okay, well, then it's now down to Nebraska and West Virginia. I thought, oh, perfect. We'll get Nebraska and then we'll save West Virginia for last. John Denver has that song, Country Road, Take Me Home.
Yep.
West Virginia. I thought, okay, we'll save West Virginia for last because that'll be really hard to find. Nebraska will be way easier. I actually found somebody in West Virginia and not Nebraska. So yeah, Nebraska is our last state. As I look at the map now, I can almost pinpoint. I look at the state now and know somebody has been there. That's kind of cool to me. So once that happens, I might evaluate then. Okay, we have Nebraska now. But if I'm not at 400, then what?
You stop when you're done.
Yeah, I think so. I think I stop when I'm done. Again, I'm still having fun.
Except for the editing part.
Right. Except for the editing. All right, Garrett. Well, let's play a game together. This is what we call Heel Hustle. So this is our new game that you would know about if I'd listened to a show or two.
I'm going to get ribbed for the rest of eternity
All right,
for that.
So here's Zach to tell us more about Heel Hustle. Zach, take it away.
It's now that time in the show to play the fastest growing game in the podcast world. We call it Heel Hustle. Today, our guest will try to answer all 6 of these questions in 60 seconds or less to win a prize from our prize closet. Audience, feel free to play at home. Let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, hustle!
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Garrett. Here you go. 60 seconds. Can you do this?
All right. I'm ready.
One person you would trade places with for a week.
Oh, you thought that would be easy. Jim Carrey.
Guilty pleasure.
Admitting that the Twilight movies aren't bad.
Best compliment you've ever received.
I give the best hugs.
What is something you wish you were better at?
Dancing.
What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received? Advice.
Anytime I can think of someone who've ever said, just go do it.
All right, last question. What never fails to make you laugh?
My son's jokes. They're all grand.
That's so good. Good job, Garrett. Look at that. You did it in under 60 seconds. You get to pick a prize. It's not really a closet. It's a treasure chest. I was pointing
It is a treasure chest.
The table there next to the refrigerator. Yes, I have my own fridge in the studio. I was somewhere. I can't even remember where we were. I saw that. It might have been like the dollar store or Walmart or something. I saw it and I told Elizabeth, I said, I have to buy this. And she said, yeah, you do. What are you going to put in it? And I said, the treasures.
The treasures.
Because it's the treasure
All right.
chest.
All right, let's open it up and see what's inside.
There's not a lot of stuff in there.
There was a car I had that had this very sticker on the back of it. And that car has since gone the way of the junkyard.
See, I feel like you need this because it's a magnet.
Oh. All right.
I mean, you can have that too if you want.
Nope. You're
I mean,
right.
I have lots of of those.
You end the show when you have no more in the prize bucket. There we go.
Or you could even have that one. That one's fun too.
I know
another
you
sticker.
love that one.
I love that
This
one.
is
That's the
my
original.
favorite.
That's the original.
I was actually thinking, the old intro to the show.
The old intro.
The old intro. Do you have it?
The old intro. Yes, actually, I do. Are you talking this?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, come take a walk with me, not like you used to do. Do something different and put yourself in other people's shoes. Open up your mind and open up your eyes and change your direction, change your perspective.
Just, it's like nostalgic almost.
I remember videotaping you with several different pairs of shoes walking down the sidewalk, so we had an intro.
That's still my video on Facebook, actually.
It is.
Yeah, still is.
A lot of your stuff is on Facebook now. I don't know if you saw the connect. No, you did email me. You told me it was there. I was thinking about throwing that into one of the AI things that takes voice out and kills the instruments.
Oh, yeah.
So then you could remix it and have it in whatever you wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot me the file. That way I don't have to rip it from YouTube.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think I have the original file actually somewhere. I've been through, 3 computers now? 3 computers, 2 Rodecaster Pros, 2s, 1 Rodecaster Original. I've been through a Zoom 6 and a Zoom 3, I think it was.
I remember those. I remember you trying to sell them so you could supplement the cost of the new ones.
I've been through 2 mics, 2 definite dedicated mics. I mean, I have other mics. 2 that I've primarily used.
And 1 shoe shed.
And 1 shoe
shack.
Shoe shack, yeah.
It's not a shed.
I mean, it could be a shed, but it's really a shack.
No, less drywall and it would be a shed.
It's like a hoodie. It's just comfortable.
This place is your hoodie.
This truly is my hoodie.
I like how looking at the outside, you have Carol, who's now painted partially blue. People who don't know what Carol is, that's fine. Leave it. Don't let them know.
I got to tell you this story. No, you need to know this because
okay.
I was going to actually tell you when we were on air on purpose. My friend Shannon, who I've known since middle school, she's actually been a guest on the show.
I was going to say season 2.
Yeah, she was in our church series. Look at you, Garrett. The Rolodex
Like I said,
shows.
I remember the early shows.
From 5 on, he has no memory. Anyway, we were at her house one time. Jason is her husband, who's your coworker. Their house, their daughter, Raina, my niece, in all intents and purposes, graduated from Georgia. So we were over there celebrating, rightfully so. And I was looking around their yard, and I saw that she had looked like a light blue garden gnome. And I was so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, it's light blue. And I was so excited. I told Elizabeth as we were driving home that night, I said, I'm going to steal Shannon's garden gnome. And she said, no, you're not. I said, no, I'm going to go over there at night and I'm going to take the garden gnome because it's light blue. Mine's green. I want a light blue one. So what I did is I swapped them.
Oh, no.
I swapped
Carol's
them.
no longer here.
No. And so I swapped them. He used to sit over there on the shelf. And I got home and I was so excited and I didn't get caught. And I'm looking at the bottom of the garden gnome that I swapped. And there's a green.
I saw that. That's why I thought you pointed it.
No, there's a green base to it. I was like, are you kidding me? So the sun changed it to light blue? It's not light blue. So I was very.
That's
so
great.
I upgraded Shannon's garden gnome.
Oh,
so.
perfect. I was looking at the shack. I saw your North Carolina logo on the side as well.
Metal.
That's awesome.
Somebody made that for me last Christmas. We have the logo doorway area now. I see stuff and I make stuff and what are you doing? Why are you making that? Like magnets. I made magnets this last year. I'm like,
hey, I think this is awesome.
And it's a QR code, so you scan it. It goes right to the website.
Yeah.
So I just like to buy stuff. It's show related. And I made those. AI made it, I should say.
Some people would say you just stole someone's art by using AI.
Garrett, I just want to say Merry Christmas, man. I know this is something that you really do look forward to, and it's great that we can kind of talk and reminisce and talk about the old days and how things have changed and how some things just still really haven't changed. And I think that's the best part about what you bring every year is, the evolution of our life, the evolution of back when when you first stopped, I mean, you weren't even a dad yet. I mean, you were on the way to being a dad.
Right. Ashley was pregnant. I think I had to stop being the executive producer because I was becoming a youth minister. That's what it was.
Right. You went into youth and now look at you. You're at a different church. We're at a different church. Amazing to me how fast life changes. 6, almost 7 years of doing the show, how my life has even changed in your life.
Yeah, you have a whole new, you have a shoe. You have a shoe shack now.
I literally have a studio. Yeah. When before we were always in my room or we were in a spare room, which, is nothing against that. I mean, that's still great moments and
got a wonderful view.
A great view. That's the part I love most about just the idea of the show is the show has traveled with me through life. It's become rhythm and really a part of what I do and who I get to become. And you've been a part of that, obviously.
And Merry Christmas to you. I love doing the show because, one, we get together. To all the listeners out there, Merry Christmas as well. We hope that our gifts are taken into consideration, that you guys really let them enrich your life.
Because tomorrow's Christmas, so you could always wait till the next day and try to return them someplace if you can.
Yeah. I want 2 hours of my life back.
You can't ever get that back again. So in all seriousness, stay tuned next week. We're going to close out season 21.
Is it 21? You should know this.
21. I think it is 21.
We're looking on the website for
I
the
have to
official
look on the
news.
website. That's how bad it is. My memory is not as good as it used to be. Yes, 21. Next week will be season finale day.
And the
season
week
21.
after.
And the week after, new season. New year, new season. 7 years. Think of your life over the last 7 years. What have you accomplished? What have you given away to the world? What have you just take, or have you actually given something back to the world?
It's an interesting thought. I'm just grateful that I've had the last 7 years. I've learned a lot in the last 7 years, and I hope that I've given more than I've taken.
I think that's what I try to do every week. I try to give a little piece of myself, but also give a little amplification to a voice that needs to be amplified. Might never been heard before if somebody hadn't turned up the volume on them. To make them feel seen, to make them feel comfortable, to give them grace enough to share what they've shared.
Amen to that.
All right, well, on that happy note, let's get out of here. Well, guys, as we close out today, let me just ask this question as we talked about in the episode. Is there something still left under the tree that maybe can be opened? Is there something still in your life that still has a place and a spot and a bow, or is it just going to stay there wrapped up? Or is it going to actually be opened and maybe change you? And again, I'm not talking about the material. I'm not talking about the superficial. I'm talking about you right now in this moment. In this moment, what is that one thing still left? Maybe for some of us, it's the I love you we haven't said yet. Maybe it's the I miss you that I haven't shared. Garrett said in our little silliness, he gives great hugs. Maybe again, it's the idea of a hug this time of the year. So let that be a thing maybe we close with is what are we still hungering for and what are we thirsting for that can only be satisfied by this, whatever that may be. Let me know. You can always let me know on the website, of course, home base, opspodcast.com. We, of course, are on the socials as well. OPS Podcast Show under Facebook, Instagram, and X. Of course, don't forget this. Remember, so important to remember when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. I want to thank you so much for listening. And as we already talked about, next week, season finale day. Hooray! When we walk in other people's shoes.